Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday. Oh, hold on. I need to take some ibuprofen before I turn my camera on because my head still hurts from yesterday. Good morning, Shawnee, Maureen, Alex, Aaron, Lady Prairie, Jeremiah, Doug, Kia. Oh, thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Oh, gotta get rid of that. We don't need that yet. I found myself on Mamdani Talk this morning. It gave me hope that while a majority of us don't have that kind of mayor, the possibility for us is there. Sure. Hey, Kat. Hey, guys. Oh. When I was making my TikTok this morning, I used some of the screenshots that Rosa took. I don't remember making some of those faces. I really don't. I saw, so there was, the Bulwark did a thing where they, I don't know what they gave them, but they had a bunch of people in general on Discord. Hey, Summer. We just didn't have a camera, so that's true. They're doing a thing where they had Republicans, Democrats, and independents, and they were doing like a, I don't know if it's like a rating or how it worked while they were watching, but like Republicans were not, the Republicans at least that were watching with this whole thing that the Bulwark was doing, knew most of his stuff was bullshit, especially the stuff about the economy being really good. About my blood pressure? Yeah. I mean, I'm worried about my blood pressure, but that's a whole different problem. Ah! Like I said, if you watch the video that I posted on TikTok, and I'll post it here too on YouTube earlier. It was the way I described it was a mixture of a pep rally and a daytime talk show and a reality TV show. That's what it felt like. It wasn't a State of the Union address. It was, hey, Clara. Hey, Angel. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. And as much as I absolutely detest the guy giving the speech, to be honest, I was more disgusted by the GOP congressmen and women that kept egging him on. If I'm being honest, I was more disgusted by what the congressmen and women were doing in the crowd than him, because that he was being quintessential Trump. 100 times, over 100 times they clapped. That was a 1 hour and 47 minute speech because he clapped, because of all the clapping. Oh man, Shell, I have a headache. Still. It was gross. You were heroic to endure the whole spectacle. Seems lots of streamers fell off after an hour and a half. That would make sense why my numbers started going up a little bit. This morning I watched the People's State of the Union. It wasn't bad. I'll admit it. It wasn't bad. Oh no, you said nothing, Shawnee. I still kind of wish it didn't happen, but it wasn't bad. They had good speakers. I will give them that. Like the people they brought up were good. Like it was good. But no, he didn't talk one bit about the Epstein files. The clapping reminded me of North Korea and how they applaud their leader. Yup. Straight up. Again, I mean, if we're talking which one was a better program as a whole, obviously the People's State of the Union was way better. I mean, but I don't know. Oh, it was horrible, Silver. It was horrible. It made me, I'm not sure I have ever been more disgusted at any representatives than after watching that. Yeah, the USA chanting was, it was so gross. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, Kia, it was good. It was good. I will give him that. It was good. Regardless of whether I think it had the overall intended purpose, it was good. Disappointment. Pure disappointment. Yep. Oh, we knew he wasn't going to do that, Shawnee. There was no way in hell. He wants everyone to forget about it as fast as humanly possible. That is his hope. I feel you, Kia. I understand why they did it. Yeah, I know. There's so much to say if you can't tell. It's fair. I mean, I feel you. It was kind of dystopian. It was really, like I said, this will go down in history as the worst ever. I believe. Straight up. The worst ever. And I'm hoping, the other thing I was thinking about, I think it was while I was trying to go to sleep, may have been when I woke up. I don't remember. I hope the other thing that comes from this is, like, from this administration, is we rewrite how things are done. Oh yeah, he got kicked out right in the beginning. He pulled out a sign and just started yelling at yeah, he got kicked out very early on. And hi Rosa, hey Laura. I mean, interestingly enough, when Elon was yelling, you saw Mike Johnson get up and was about to say something, and it was at that moment that Trump finished his line and everyone started clapping, and then it just moved on. I think if he hadn't finished that line and gotten the clapping, then she may have. Oh yeah, Kia. I believe you. There were moments that I wish I did too. And this is someone that at the time wasn't a big fan of the idea of them doing it. Trust me, there were moments that I wished I watched the other thing. Many, many, many moments. But I also felt it necessary to have a full experience of what he did. But I don't blame people for watching the other thing. What happened there after watching it was important too. The many faces of Fire Lips. Yep, you got it, Rosa. Yup. Unfortunately, he was getting that platform no matter what because of who he is and what it was. There was no way in hell he wasn't going to get a platform. But I hear you. Again, the next big merge. While he spent his time lying and threatening, 3 more Dem seats were won, 1 in Pennsylvania, 2 in Maine. Yep. Like I said, that's the thing. They can sit it. I said it in my video when you watch it. It felt like they were thinking that the more they clapped, the more likely, like, the amount of clapping they did would help bring it into reality. I hear you, Scott, and we talked about that. In the end, after having watched it, I was okay with it. After having watched the State of the Union, I actually was okay with it. Because that is 2 hours of my life I will never get back. And there was not one iota of truth in that entire State of the Union. What did SCOTUS do? Oh, wait. Was this the shoot, what was the one? I saw something. Some decision they made. Trying to remember now. Yes. Yes. That's it. Guys, this Supreme Court decision, by its very nature, I think may have destroyed mail-in voting. That's what I was thinking when I saw that decision. That Supreme Court decision, by its very nature, may have destroyed mail-in voting. At least in some states. Steal your thunder? I'm surprised 5 didn't show. I'm kind of surprised 5 didn't show too. I mean, I don't think it'll affect every state, but southern states, red states, states that are that lean heavily red in some way, shape, or form, yeah, it might destroy it. Five of the hockey players didn't come. The rest of it was just gross. It spent way too much time on the hockey players. Way too much time on the hockey players. Yeah, making it a decision that there is no, basically nothing constitutional about a member of USPS actually delivering mail. I mean, yeah, that's what I was talking about most of the time. I think I don't remember what I said, 5 seconds ago, but Well, yeah. I think that's what that decision will end up. I think that is a broader outcome of that SCOTUS decision. That's what came into my mind hearing about it. Obviously, there's a direct problem with it, which is racism thing with the post office. But I think there's a broader problem that is going to come from it. I understand the case was based on racism, but the decision, I think, opens a broader problem. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I remember hearing them talk about, well, because they said in the decision, if I remember correctly, that there is nothing that requires them, and maybe I'll have to look it up. Basically, there's nothing that requires them, the USPS, to deliver mail in a specific, like, I have to look it up. I have to look up the decision. But I remember when someone was reading, I was watching someone read the decision, and I could totally see there being a broader implication for it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I was thinking when I heard the decision. Other, just adding on to the fact that well, I understand that. I just, again, I see this administration taking decisions and trying to, there's no recourse if the USPS intentionally doesn't deliver mail. So what if they don't deliver mail in balance to, say, high minority neighborhoods, is what I'm thinking. Yes. That is what was going through my head. Thank you, Patrick. That was that line, the no recourse if the USPS intentionally doesn't deliver mail. I just see this administration taking every door that is possibly open to them to do some really shitty things. Like, they don't need it wide open. They just need a crack. There's already reporting, I think, in North Carolina, of college students not getting their mail-in votes delivered to them. I was thinking about all the black and brown people that have already been affected by the mail not being delivered. Yep, that's true too. I mean, when it comes to mail-in voting just as a whole, they're disenfranchising everybody that does mail-in voting. Scott, I wish I could say I was surprised with this Supreme Court. I wish I could say I was surprised. But I ain't. Not anymore. Not surprised at anything this administration and the people that were brought in because of this administration will do. Yeah, I'm just worried that they open the door for something more. But yep. No, I hear you guys. It Yeah, like I said, I understand what the decision was specifically about, Scott. I just don't see this administration not potentially using it in a different way that could help them, if that makes sense. Hey, Jen. This entire administration and government, I feel, is a bit tenuous. That's just kind of everything at this point. Hey, Carrie. Good morning. Hey, Dana. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming to Lowe's. Sit back and relax. Oh, I understand it's not just about ballots, though. I understand. I was just telling you where my brain went the first time, right when I heard it, because my brain is just constantly thinking about the midterms at this point. I know you're not. I'm just talking, Kia. Yeah, I'm just talking. I'm just talking. We're all talking here. I'm reading things as they come up. That frustrates me too, because it was straight up. Oh, I understand. And that, when I first started hearing about it, that was where my brain went. Yeah. Yep. It's all frustrating. The whole thing is frustrating. It's frustrating that they made the decision that they made, regardless of the other ramifications, you know? Hey, Carol. Oh, it was a good thing, Mike. It was a good thing. And some places are trying to get rid of early voting to make it harder. Yeah. Yeah. You fell asleep? It was probably a good thing. It was probably a good thing. Al stood 10 toes down. Yep. Al Green is a good man. I watched it just to play bingo. That's fair. That's fair. I think the American government's first priority is anybody that is within our society, whether you are a citizen or not. The more I watched, the more mad I became too. The fact that someone ripped, yep, also true. I agree with you, Cheever. It was just pretty disgusting. So did you miss anything? No, you didn't miss anything. If by best speech ever you mean worst speech ever, then I agree with you. Democrats just a name. When will conservatives apologize for slavery? I agree with everything they did not stand up for. Okay. Good luck on that, Charlie. Yeah, Erica Kirk, she's got some skills, man. She can turn on those tears like that. All right. Come on up, friends. I don't need to do this alone.
Well, that's fast even for you.
You know,
You must be tired.
I did 3 hours last night. So I consider that all part of my opening. They did stand for a 100-year Navy veteran, chosen one. They stood for all of the veterans. Grow up.
Look, good speech, bad speech. Politically speaking, the State of the Union message is something that will be 100% forgotten within 72 hours. Nobody will be talking about it. It's a big nothing burger in terms of American politics. It's not going to shape the midterms one way or the other. If Trump was hoping for a reset, he didn't get it.
Yep. Eileen, I've been live for 7 minutes on here. I know you probably think that my goal is to get started instantaneously about everything that happened, but that's not how I work. I actually normally go about 30 minutes where we just talk to people as they come in and then we get going. So the fact that we're getting going early is unusual. But you're right, Scott. You're right. I've actually seen quite a few responses from different people saying, in the end, the only people that were listening, like that were paying attention at all, are people that already have a mindset on him. Like they already know what they think about him. There was nothing new. Like none of it was new, really.
No, and that sort of surprised me, is that he spoke for 2 hours and didn't say anything that he hasn't said 1,000 times before. So that was the only surprise I took out of it. Other than that, just basic State of the Union, theatrics, the hockey team, the giving out medals like they were confetti. What does it mean for the midterms? Absolutely, categorically nothing. Zero.
Yep. In fact, if you look at, there were some, I was talking about a little bit before, the Bulwark did a thing where, I don't know what they gave them, but they were watching responses to different statements by a group of Republicans, Democrats, and independents. And when he'd say things, people would respond on something to say what they thought. And every time he, like, especially when he talked about the economy, it plummeted. It plummeted. Because everyone knew that he was lying through his teeth. El Predictor, no, really was probably the worst speech I've ever witnessed.
I just thought it was how absolutely fucking disgusting. And I spent a majority of my time, which has started like almost an hour earlier, watching the People's State of the Union, getting to hear from immigrants and what their experiences have been since they've been in the country, dealing with ICE, hearing people who have had issues with ICE and what it's doing, how it's making them feel, hearing all kinds of different people, hearing actual victims get to talk about how they're feeling, what they want to happen. I understand that the State of the Union is supposed to be for the president to be able to speak about the actual State of the Union. However, I think at the point in time, I almost feel like it's just it's like we're platforming misinformation simply because of who his title is. If he was any other person, nobody would have shown what he was saying. If he would have said the same exact thing, but it not been the State of the Union and him not be the president, nobody would have showed it because it would have all been labeled as misinformation and a bunch of lies. And that's why I was just like, nah, no. I mean, I watched it with RTP just to kind of hear. I couldn't. I snuck into YouTube for a second, and I kept hearing you, and I was like, nope, I can't be here if I want to listen without wanting to mod. So I had to leave, and that's why I came back when it was done. But listening to RTP as he fact checked in real time, what he kept pausing it and was fact checking and fact checking. It's just we're literally the shit in the bottom of the world's boots for real.
Mm-hmm. The entire speech was a lie, Liz. Literally the entire speech. He said that there was no crime in DC. You could literally look up the crime statistics for 2026 to show that was 100% false. No,
Well,
not according to Democrats. According to reality.
it's interesting that Liz said he was 100% honest. That's a first for Mr. Trump. 100% honest, huh? Wow.
No
Shame on
around.
our shame on our hockey team, but kudos for the fellas that didn't show up, and even more kudos for the ladies for not going at all. That's right, ladies. Good job.
Okay, Chuck. Man, y'all. You're not going to become one of them. You're not going to become a billionaire. You're not going to get a seat at the table. He's playing you.
Take a look at his policies. They've hurt Red America a lot more than they've hurt Blue America, and yet these people still applaud him. It's amazing.
and his dumb statements about all these things that he wants to take our tax dollars in to quote unquote help Americans, when all it's going to do is throw more money into the stock market and make his buddies and himself even more wealthy than he already is, and no one else is going to be able to use it. He didn't actually talk about any policy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, y'all know I'm real big, and just because of somebody's title should not allow them certain things, and I firmly believe that in so many ways, and it was just absolutely insane. It was absolutely insane. Um and then like the thing with Al Green and dude that tried to snatch that sign out of his hand. I can't say what I said over on the other side in here, but I swear to gosh, it was like a some kind of meeting. Just everybody was dressed up in suits instead of sheets. It was just bad.
Why don't you talk about the Democrats and what they're doing?
Oh, why don't you talk about it then? What are the Democrats doing? What evil are the Democrats doing when they don't control the House, they don't control the Senate, they don't control the Supreme Court, they don't have a majority of the governors, and they don't have a majority of the state legislatures? So why don't you tell us what they're actually doing that's so bad? Except winning elections lately. That's what they're doing a lot of, including last night.
And yes, I am pro victim. I always will be. Absolutely. The fuck kind of dumbass statement is that?
Shutting down they didn't shut down the government. They're just not giving away their votes without actual.
Oh, good God. Shut that.
You probably think that tariffs are a tax on the people exporting the goods too, right?
Yeah, dumber than a bag of rocks. Just unbelievably dumb.
Dems don't hate America. That's a dumb statement. Oh, we're discussing. We're discussing right now.
He literally called out the Dems for hating America. Oh.
Yeah, all those Dems pew-pewing people in Minneapolis, that's how much they hate America. Oh, wait a minute. No, that was ICE. Oops, forgot.
I don't bring up people I don't know. Well, Scott's 69 years old, and he would disagree with you probably. You're right. This isn't a debate channel. Yep. That's all
Missed
you
the
got.
comments. What are they saying to me?
Oh, some guy came in. He's like, I'm 65. It was the best State of the Union ever.
Well, I'm 69 and I've watched most of them. To tell you the truth, they all suck. They're a fucking waste of time. For the majority of the history of this country, the president sent a written message to Congress, and I wish we'd go back to that and end with these ridiculous theatrics. And that's on both sides.
Until we get past this identity politics thing and stop saying Democrats or Republicans in R, X, Y, and Z, it'll be tough to near impossible to actually fix things. Because Republican is just a word, and Republican Party is just an organization. Same with the Democrats and the Democratic Party. It's what you stand for.
So, PK, this was the best speech you've ever heard? Really? Really? The best you've ever heard? Better than like Franklin Roosevelt or Jack Kennedy or Martin Luther King or Winston Churchill? This was the best you've ever heard? Really? Talco, the reason that they don't see it is they are blind. It's right out of the Bible. There's none so blind as those who will not see, and they won't see.
Is the best speech you ever heard. Congrats on turning 12. Yes, Captain. Seymour, grow up. Like, seriously, grow up.
Yeah, I'm sure wherever he is, Winston Churchill is very upset that he's been beaten out as the best speech maker by Donald Trump. I'm sure he's terribly upset about it. FDR too. Dr. King too.
We are not moving forward as a country. Literally, there is not one metric other than the top 1% of the country making a ton of money that is actually getting better in America right now. Not one metric. Unless you want to say that, less people can afford to survive than before. That metric is getting way better. I was texting with veterans during it, and so many of them were pissed off that he was using people that gave so much to this country as theatrics with the medals.
Now, I'm happy that the men's hockey team won too, but the Medal of Freedom to the goalie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really? The Medal of Freedom? What is he, 20-something years old? He gets the Medal of Freedom?
Or that he used children for theatrics. Yep. But that's what he does. And then he gets people to say, what, you guys don't like children? Or what, you guys don't like him honoring veterans? It's like, no, I don't like you using it there in that way. That's what I don't like. You can't always be so one-sided. Open your minds to other sides. I don't open my minds to sides that are anti-humanity, anti-empathy, and endanger the lives of others. I do not open my mind to those, ever.
And if people are so concerned about children, one would tend to think that they'd be concerned about the full release of the Epstein files, where we can find out what happened to those children and who did it. One would tend to think that that would be a priority.
One would tend to think that someone who had empathy and humanity would be upset that the person who's in charge of this country's name was in the e-files 1,000,000 times and not be supporting him because of that. But no. One would be upset if you are a veteran when you heard the president say, I wanted to give myself the highest medal of honor that a veteran can get, but I'm not allowed to, and joked about the fact that he couldn't give himself the highest military honor possible.
Well, it's kind of tough winning the Medal of Honor when you're a 5-time draft dodger.
Sorry, Pete, I don't bring in people I don't know.
They must be private because I don't see
He
them.
has a sense of humor. You think that's funny? I don't think that's funny. That's the problem. You guys don't have the ability to see that his jokes are harmful. Anytime he says something that is harmful, you just say, oh, it was just a joke. Well, you know what? Jokes still can be harmful. And if you don't care about that, then that's on you. That's not the first quality I need in a president. Nope. No. Like I said, there are just so many things that pissed me off. Him saying that there was no more crime in DC. Like, that was a flat out lie. A flat out lie. Because you can look up the statistics for the first 2 months in DC. And you can tell it's a lie. What wasn't a flat out lie? He said things that were... He either said flat out lies or he said things that were misrepresentations of the truth. All was true? No, it wasn't. The fact that you say all was true shows that you don't actually care about the truth.
Well, he said that under Biden, we had the highest inflation in our history. Not even close. That's not even close. Not even in the ballpark of the highest inflation. And as a matter of fact, when Biden left office, inflation was actually slightly bit lower than it is right now.
Yes, the fact that people are saying when he took office to the highest inflation ever, that's a lie. What would Kamala do? Don't know, but way better than whatever this administration would have done. But in the end, no one actually knows because she didn't win.
Well, I think we can guess. She
Can
wouldn't
tell you
have
what she
taken
wouldn't do.
She wouldn't take health care away from people. She wouldn't cut SNAP benefits to people. She wouldn't affect the Medicaid that goes to 30% of the population of red states. She wouldn't have cut that. So that's just 3 things right off Jump Street she wouldn't have done. She wouldn't have sent armed thugs into our city's streets. to pew pew innocent people. She wouldn't have done that. She wouldn't have shut down U.S. aid, which so far has led to the unaliving of 300,000 people in Africa.
She isn't
She wouldn't
in
have
the
done that
e-files.
either.
He isn't in the e-files. I mean, I believe she would have been a good president, but in the end, we also know that it's not just the president, which is why I say in my video that I posted today that as upset as I am at the president, I'm more upset at the GOP in Congress and what they were doing during it and their response during it. Which is why I am so focused on the midterms, because this is the ultimate issue. Mute me because you can't handle the truth. Man, people just don't like. And she followed me? Hell no. Goodbye. He didn't keep one promise. Literally not one. He has not kept one promise. Not one. He will never. He does no authority over the midterms. He cannot stop the midterms from happening. Oh yeah, people rage DM me all the time.
They get big mad when I mute them.
No, he did not keep one. He has not kept one promise that he has made. Save Act in the way that it's written, yeah, is an issue. 100%. It is a poll tax. The way the Save Act is written. It's already illegal to vote if you're not a citizen.
Can you drop your hand, brother? I'm sorry, it's making it hard. The way the camera's set today, for some reason, your hand is taking up like a majority of the comments on the screen.
Sure. Not the kind of IDs they're trying to put forth. No. And if you have to spend money to get the IDs, that is a poll tax. Why can't you understand that? You probably couldn't. I mean, I don't think he could comprehend what he was saying.
Julie, do you have the magic Trump decoder ring so that you could understand what he was saying? Because the rest of us it was a little bit foggy. He was jumping from subject to subject.
Boston Runner asked if you had any thoughts on Georgia finding Elon had tampered with mail-in votes. Scott?
Yeah, let's let that play out before we get too excited about it. But yeah, it's worrisome, and we'll see what the authorities in Georgia do. So I don't want to say anything because we don't know all the facts yet. That's it. Right now, it's an accusation. So troublesome accusation, by the way.
I'm not fluent in 2-year-old gibberish to understand his rambles. Truth.
It's got us probably very smart not to talk about that until stuff. Even after, I just have this when I heard him reading out that question out loud, my little mod Spidey thinks I can just see that being something that gets you gone just that quick talking about that. Look what happens when you talk about stuff that's actually been in court and stuff like that.
I was waiting for his nose to grow so long it would knock the camera lens out. They're filtering everyone really bad over on TikTok. It's disgusting. I'm sure there's more conversation going on from people that, like, there's a lot of people that are here all the time that I'm not seeing talk that usually would talk.
No, that's not a bad question at all, Boston. Not at all. I just, right now it's in the accusation stage, and I want to see it play out a bit. I'll have plenty to say on it, I promise you, but not right now, because right now it's just an accusation, and I don't want to be like the other side, which makes accusations and turns them into fact before they know what the hell they're talking about.
And I know DeWolf can't hear anymore, but I want to make this clear. Our administration, our leaders, their job is to work for everyone that is within this country. This idea that the only people that our leaders are supposed to do anything for our citizens is flat out lie.
And I think it was a good question. It's just that topic on this app is not safe to discuss. To discuss, excuse me. But it's a great question. It's a great question, and I think. All right, see you later, Belt Love. Be safe. And to be honest, trying to filter myself. I'm sure there's quite a lot of us that have, and I'm saying us as a collective overall, that have thought that. I've seen and heard people say that in other spaces. So I'm curious, like as Scott says, like when stuff starts coming out, what do we actually find out?
Yeah. It just boggles my mind. The whole thing boggles my mind at how, I mean, you saw, if you're not in part of the Discord, you can see my faces during the live. It was pretty funny. Different polls are saying now that Trump's speech focused too little on the economy and cost of living. Shocker. Color me shocked.
Well, that's true. I've pretty much finished my midterm outlook, which will take too long to go into right now because we're talking about the State of the Union. But when we get a chance in the coming days, I'll go over it with the polling data, and I draw from about 5 different polls, and I average them out to make it easier for your listeners. They're in a lot of trouble, but the number one issue by more than 2-to-1 with the American people and by more than 3-to-1 with Latino and Gen Z is the economy. It's affordability. So when you're talking about giving medals to the hockey team or various other people, that's not what the American people are there listening for. They want to know about prices. And when it comes to affordability, what is the number one issue in affordability? Number 2 is groceries. Number 3 is housing. But number 1 is healthcare. Not a surprise at all, because people woke up on January 1st and found out that they were paying a whole lot more for healthcare this year. And yes, that includes people with even employer-based healthcare. I'm not just talking about the ACA here. That is all people want to hear about. They do not want to hear about anything else. They don't want to hear about Venezuela. They could give a rat's ass about Venezuela. They want to hear about, what are you going to do to lower my healthcare costs, my grocery costs, and my housing cost. Housing cost is number one with Gen Z, by the way. And that's why Trump has lost so much support in the Latino and Gen Z community. And he's also lost, and this is vital, he's also lost 10 points among working class voters, which are the core, that's his core. He's already lost 10 points with them.
Or him pretending that housing prices going down $5,000 was A, enough, or B, because of him. Like $5,000, that means nothing. That means nothing. Hey, Autumn.
I think also too, if you were to poll parents who have to pay daycare, I bet you daycare would be, because for a lot of people, daycare costs more than your living expenses do, your rent or your mortgage. I remember, gosh, my niece is 22 now. So you figure she's 22 now, when she would have been in a place to actually go to daycare was quite a few years ago. It was going to be $260 something a week just for her.
If Jenny, if
Yeah,
you
and make no mistake about it. I mean, issues such as the ice raids, Greenland, NATO, our faith in our democracy, they're all very important issues, but they pale in comparison to the economic issues that will be the number one issues in the midterms. Healthcare, groceries, housing costs, followed up by utility bills.
Yep.
Remember, I told you utility bills would be the sleeper issue? Well, it's not so sleepy right now. Utility bills are rising rapidly as a major issue in the 2026 midterm elections.
Yep. Did y'all see where they said raising healthcare was good for us? I don't remember him saying that, but honestly, I just remember hating everything I heard. So, and it was a long speech. So it wouldn't surprise me though.
So when you see all these poll numbers, because like I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm immediately, and forgive me if any other parents are in the chat, anybody else that has kids and had to pay daycare, like my daycare consistently was more expensive than my utilities always. So I'm just really confused, like, and curious, because I know that's an issue why a lot of younger people are saying they're not having kids because they can't afford daycare. And I'm wondering if it's because of that, why it doesn't show up like it's as big of an issue. Because daycare, I think, is almost like a double whammy issue. It's kind of like if you already have kids, trying to pay for it is expensive as all hell. But then if you don't have kids, knowing that you're going to have to pay for daycare, and you could pay more than your mortgage and your rent, that's why a lot of people are choosing not to have daycare.
User blah blah.
Kia, the answer to your question is simple. Everybody has a utility bill. Not everybody pays daycare.
User blah 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 blah. I just need to say this. Do you think every time that we have not liked something in this country and decided to change it, that the answer is move? So you think the same thing about civil rights or women's suffrage or the ending of slavery, or every other time that something has changed in this country, that the answer is you don't like it, you just go somewhere else? That's not how things work in a society.
I guess you maybe, I'm sorry. Maybe you missed the part when I said, I'm curious if you broke it down by parents and people that have kids, if that would not be considered, because if you just do it on everybody, but I guess I'm talking more specifically to parents and stuff like that.
Oh, no doubt, Kia, no doubt. I mean, if you break issues down to a demographic that uses something, for instance, I mentioned Gen Z. Gen Z is not as upset about groceries, and they're not as upset about healthcare because they're not worried about that right now. Right now, they want to buy a house or at least to be able to afford a rental, and they can't. So for them, the number one issue for that demographic is housing. So sure, for people who are parents of children who need daycare, I guarantee you that's a huge issue. I don't dispute that at all. I'm just talking overall numbers with the electorate, though.
John, worst speech ever. Worst speech ever. And not just a little long, insanely long. Well, no, Amanda. At Gen Z age, a lot of them are still living at home. So they're getting their food paid for. They're still getting their health insurance under their parents.
Jen, Clara, I am definitely being specific. I've literally been a parent as long as I've been able to vote. So cost of daycare was literally a giant part of my adult existence from the time I was 19 years old. So daycare cost is very important to me. All of my friends that had their kids go to daycare. That's why I'm very curious about that, because there are a lot of parents that vote, not just women, men too, that vote. And that's why I'm just like it, because I know when I listen to people talk about, that's one of my favorite things when when I listen to your interviews, Mike, and candidates bring up daycare. I love when they talk about daycare, because I know people keep talking about, and that's why I said like daycare is a double whammy issue. People, not just because of the cost of daycare, you put the cost of daycare and the cost of healthcare and the lack thereof all together, that means people are not going to have babies. People are not going to keep having kids. My kids are 26, 25, and 19, almost 20 years old. And they've already said, like, one of them's like, hell no, I'm not having kids. And the other two were like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford them. So, yes, I am being specific. And for my brain, that's how it works. Because I think if we just only do the broader things, I think sometimes the people that are asking about those things kind of feel a little left out, because for parents, daycare is a huge issue.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And looking at it on a macro sense, what we're seeing here is the rich are getting richer as the tax cuts are aimed at billionaires, and what is paying for all that is a diminution of the social safety net, SNAP, the Affordable Care Act, Medicaid, daycare, the cost of housing, the cost of groceries, all of the things that affect the middle class and poorer people. They are the ones who are paying for the tax cuts to billionaires, and now they're noticing it. And they were promised that those prices would go down. And it's not just daycare. It's not just the Affordable Care Act. According to Kaiser Family Foundation, I've got the stats exactly on this. If you have employer-based health care, if you're lucky enough to have employer-based health care, your rates went up 26% in 1 year. And that doesn't include the deductibles. When you factor in the increase in deductibles, it's 35%. Again, source KFF, Kaiser Family Foundation. These are major costs, and I haven't even brought up, or anybody who owns a home knows what happened to their homeowner's insurance. Anybody who drives a car knows what happened to their car insurance. These have taken major leaps this year, all of them across the board. 1 in 8 Americans is on SNAP benefits. Well, not anymore. Trump bragged last night that 2.5 million people were lifted out of SNAP benefits. They weren't lifted out of shit. They had their SNAP benefits taken away. They weren't lifted out of anything.
Yep. That's why I say he was either lying or he was spinning or saying things in such a way that made them seem better or different than what the reality was.
And Kev brings up a great point in chat. Not only you add to all this that a lot of Gen Z is having a real hard time getting a full-time job. And that's a real good point, Kevin. You're right.
What are
That part.
What are
Yeah.
suggestions for healthcare costs? Single payer healthcare. Universal healthcare. Get rid of insurance companies. Get rid of the middleman.
And for the person who just said in chat the SNAP benefit loss was long overdue, could you please explain what you meant? I have a
can't.
hard time believing you actually meant what I think you meant.
Who would pay for it? Everyone who already pays, trucker. It's just instead of our money going to an insurance company that then pays the doctors, it would go to a single payer. It would go to a single place, everyone's. It would become a tax, and it would all go to there, and then it would, which would be cheaper, because the government doesn't need to make a profit. The government doesn't have stockholders. As long as we are paying somebody else whose job is to make money, it's always going to become more expensive because they're going to care about making money more than making us healthy.
So also, gosh, if I can remember now, you answered the question about healthcare. What were we talking about before healthcare? Damn it.
Daycare.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I got it. Thank you. But it's kind of like this is where we talking about like how you remember for days, and I know you guys probably kept talking about intersectionality. Well, let's see. You're sitting here and rounding up all these immigrants and sending them out of here. Daycare costs, healthcare being non-existent or super expensive is keeping kids from keeping people from having kids. What else is going to be the big problem here? When you're not having people have more kids, and then you're taking out people who would have kids or add to the keep adding people into the population, what's going to end up happening? we're we're going to get to a point where it's like we need people that are able-bodied to work and do all of the things, all of the jobs, in all of the places. That's going to become an issue as well. If we don't have, like, isn't that what's happening with like other countries like Japan, where your population is getting so much older? What's going to happen when all of your old population is gone and you don't have enough young people to bring in and to fulfill it?
Japan, China, Russia, a lot are dealing with it right now.
Somebody asked in chat, what are we looking at for Medicaid? Medicaid runs the federal government about $620 billion a year. That's what we're looking at. We're not looking at any increases in Medicaid. That's just what it costs now. They are trying to cut Medicaid to pay for their $1 trillion tax cut for the wealthy. And the biggest amount of money is not coming from the ACA, and it's not even coming from SNAP. The big bundle of money that they're cutting is from Medicaid, which over 10 years is going to be cut by $1 trillion. That's what they're cutting it, $1 trillion.
And I think like people don't and it's like what Scott's saying, like and what you guys are saying in chat on both sides. Like that's the thing. Like honestly, now, like I have 3 sons. If it would have been now, if we could have, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way I would have been able to have all those kids. And then you sit there and you talk about wanting to bring people wanting to bring back manufacturing, but why? Like, is there a new way to do it cleaner that's not going to start putting all these pollutants back into the air and ground? Look at what's happened to places that have lived in areas where they did all that production and there wasn't enough care paid attention to the earth, the land, the water. Look what's happened. That stuff is seeped into the ground. People are getting sick, like at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. Like the Marines, and they're not only just the Marines, but their babies were getting cancer and all these sicknesses and unaliving from it. It's like there's just so many things, and like to hear that man, like that's why I didn't mind them having the whole People's State of the Union. I had to sit there and I had to think about it, and then like after watching both of them, it's exactly, they talked about the things that we needed: affordability, what the cubes are doing, immigration, and not just that, like immigrants who have been here and the things that they help other immigrants do. Hearing that woman talk about how she's taught, I think she said like 7,000 other immigrants, helping them towards getting their paperwork and everything in order to be able to become a citizen in this country. You know, hearing people talk about the trauma of what has happened at the hands of these cube agents. I mean, and not to mention like this whole big cube whistleblower thing that just went off and all of that stuff that's coming out. And then yesterday people are still supposed to say, oh, it was the State of the Union, you should still tune in because that's our president. Nah, fuck that. It's just gross.
Well, if these tariffs were supposed to bring manufacturing back to America, they're not working very well because we actually lost manufacturing jobs. Now, that's pretty cool. We actually lost manufacturing jobs under the first year of Trump.
Yep.
So I
And,
guess these tariffs aren't bringing jack shit back to America.
and we will
They're
keep,
building plenty of factories in Canada and Mexico, but not the United States.
and even if people build factories here, we'll still be losing jobs because most of the people that are building factories are building robotic factories. No, we did not, Matt. The number of manufacturing jobs has dropped this year or in 2025.
Yeah, about 120,000, I believe it was.
Like you know, we've gotten statistics of it. Why can you guys not like, and it's your own government that you are saying added is telling you that they haven't. Okay. I'm sorry. You may have said something before. This app is really bad at filtering, and we're often getting only half of people's comments. Well,
Now, Giuseppe brought up in chat that if the Democrats take the House and the Senate, they can undo the big, beautiful bill. Oh, from your mouth to God's ears, Giuseppe, but they will not be able to undo it because Donald Trump will veto it. And even if the Democrats take back the House and take back the Senate, they won't have a 2/3 majority to override a veto. So, unfortunately, the big, beautiful bill is law now. And as I said the day it passed, right here on this space, that is a Republican suicide pact because the big, beautiful bill is what's going to cost them the midterms.
it'll probably cost them even more than that because again, the future is unknown as a whole. Let's go straight on that. When we say they won't be able to do it, we're saying based on everything we know about the way the parties are working, who will most likely win, all of that stuff. You want us to become New York City? Oh yeah, that would be great. I want a Zoran Mamdani in every position in this country. Let's do it. He paid people $30 an hour to come out and shovel the city. When they started making this joke about even Zoran Mamdani, required people to have IDs to come out and shovel. Yeah, because he wanted to pay them. They have to take out taxes on that. So yeah, they needed the same IDs that you use when you go start a job if you wanted to come out and do that.
Jermaine's question was actually, are you serious? You want us to become like New York City? To which I would answer to you, Jermaine, I don't really know about becoming New York City. I know what I don't want us to become. I don't want us to become Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, or any of those other states. That's what I don't want us to become. And that's what we're on the fast track of becoming.
It's true. And yes, I've heard people say that like AI is going to take over 80% of the jobs. I disagree with that. If 80% of the jobs were taken up by AI, then no one would have money and no one would buy anything that was built. But it will replace lots of jobs. I mean, it will replace some, just like computers replace some. And things will change because of it. But I don't think it's going to replace as many as you think, because at some point you will hit a line that no one will be able to buy things. So you will end up making things that no one can buy. And then it's completely pointless at that point.
I think it depends on, I think it's definitely going to affect some industries a lot more than others,
Sure.
for sure. There's some things I don't think it's going to affect as much, but I really think that, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that blowing off what AI can do to us, I think is kind of dangerous, because I think that's what we've done with a lot of things that are wrong. We've kind of said, oh, it's not going to be that bad, or that's not going to happen. And I think for a long time, for decades, that's what's been happening. And look what's been happening quietly behind it. There's a reason they're wanting to spend all this massive amounts of money and bring these giant data centers here. They want to do AI with it. There's something like, if we haven't learned anything by now, they're not doing anything for no reason. They've got long-term dirty plans that are running in the background. And I think if we sit there, just like when people were kind of poo-pooing on the whole SAVE Act, just the idea, even if it doesn't pass, like saying it's not going to pass is not good enough. The fact that they're actively keep trying to do stuff like that shows what they're trying to do in the background. They have a plan and they're working on stuff. And if we don't take them seriously, then I think we're just as bad as the people who actively go along with them.
Oh, I am no doubt that there will be plenty of companies out there that will attempt to do it. No doubt at all. I apologize if what I was saying made it seem like I was trying to diminish it. I full well know that organizations, companies right now will do anything they can that they think will make them more money, even if it involves trying to 100% AI their businesses. I know that. I 100% know that. And they may try, and who knows what horrible things could happen because of it. But I think in the end, I don't know. I'm just talking out all the possibilities in my head. And I just think I think there is always a point where, like, I think you're starting to see it. I think there's a lot of people that are starting to get almost sick of social media, not because they don't like some of the things like what we're doing here, but too many people are just putting AI filth into the world and they're tired of it. And I think you're starting to see people change what kind of stuff they will watch. I think you'll start seeing less people use this app and apps with this short form kind of content because too many people are just putting out AI stuff. Will it happen right away? No, but I think it will start happening. I think there is going to be a lot of regulations that need to come into place. And I think this administration is going to has showed a lot of weaknesses and a lot of problems. Has made ones that maybe have been slightly hidden, has now made them like as bright as the sun. And again, the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? That's really the question, is what are we going to do about it? Are we going to keep just complaining about it, or are we actually going to try and fix it? I've said this before, and I will say this again. And one of the reasons I am interviewing 10 to 12 people a week, or 10 to 17 people a week, people that want to fix things. They aren't taking PAC money. They want to take money out of politics. They want the problems that we keep talking about are things that they want to fix. But they're not going to do it if they don't get through primaries and if they don't get into office. It's just going to keep being the exact same thing if we just keep going back and forth between the same kind of people every single time. That's why I'm interviewing all of these people. If we don't get out and vote, if we don't stand up and do things, and not just federal. I know federal is going to be a big deal, but state and local. Because again, we want real change. We need to have enough people in federal and state to make change, especially if what we want requires an amendment to the Constitution. John, grow up. Gosh, people are disgusting. You want to get money out of politics is probably going to require a constitutional amendment to really do it. I know there are things that we could do that are just a law, but if we're talking really like work on fixing things, it's going to take an amendment. If you think this was the best State of the Union ever, that's sad. Because he didn't say anything. All he did was play to your emotions. Your bigoted, racist, anti-humanity emotions. Yeah, the problem is you look at the bill that they're talking about wanting to pass, it doesn't actually stop insider trading. There's two bills that were put forth. One actually would stop insider trading, and the other one really doesn't. This is why I always hate when you just hear him say things. Ah!
And so that, and then along, are you serious, bro? And Baku, of all the other places in the house you could sit, you have to sit in my dirt pile. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh my God, little asshole. But to me, I think the two things that you just said, that's exactly why I was not against what happened last night. With the fact that there was two programs. I think because a lot of people already knew exactly what was going to happen. It's the same thing that happened the last time he did one. Says the same thing that he says when he's all over on social media and, all of those things. And actually hear people talking about like that we elected to represent us, talking about things that are the issues that we're having, talking about affordability, talking about immigration, talking about the cubes, talking about all of that. That's what we needed. That when we get a State of the Union, that's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear somebody stand up there for an hour and a half, just sit there and lie and say all kinds of crazy shit and talk so hatefully to the other side. It was gross.
Jojo, he needed ID because they were getting paid. When you go work a job, you have to give IDs so you can get paid. Because they have to do things like take taxes out and all that other stuff. Why can't you guys understand that? Those people were working for the government of New York City for the day and getting paid to do it. Just like if you went and worked at a grocery store, they would have to take scans of your IDs so you can get paid. And again, you guys don't seem to get that the SAVE Act, the problem is not the idea that you need to be a citizen to vote. It's that what they are requiring and the way they are requiring it goes against the Constitution. It is by its nature a poll tax. It's not the ID, it's the way that you have to do it and what it requires of citizens.
Okay, can we talk about the SCOTUS thing now
Sure.
with the post office?
Sure.
In case you guys haven't seen it because of all the other crazy shit that's been going on. I think for me, why it took me a little bit to notice it, because I was watching the Q whistleblower thing or whatever. But SCOTUS, like in a... So when I say that racism doesn't mean calling people the N-word and walking around with sheets on, they legit said there's a lady, she owned some rental properties. She didn't get mail, not just her, but her tenants did not receive mail for over 2 years because the 2 post office delivery people that she had said they because of her race did not want to deliver her mail. So people, I mean, you're talking about things like people's car titles, their light bills, their insurance cards, all this stuff. People end up having to move. Their lights are getting cut off. All these different things are happening because they're not getting their mail. And in a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court basically said that that's okay. That you can literally say because you don't like somebody's race, that you don't have to deliver their mail. They basically said that you cannot sue them for racial discrimination, among several other things. And the one thing I saw was, I haven't seen most of it, but I saw something about, and Scott, you can correct me, but something about Sotomayor was saying that she felt that they were trying to interpret past precedent or something too tightly or something like that. Like it was like too intense or something.
I believe what she was saying is that the long-standing policy is that you can't sue the post office over delivery issues, and she was trying to point out this isn't really a delivery issue. It's something different, namely racism. But I assume what the Supreme Court is saying is that your redress lies through the Postal Service, not in a civil court.
Yeah, and
which doesn't make it. I'm not defending their decision. I'm simply trying to report what they said.
You would think that, and see, this is the thing, and it's like, here we go again, where this Supreme Court, within a pretty recent time frame, has basically allowed racist type things, racism, which is the system of the whole oppression of it all, to continue and be loud and well. And that's just, Mike talked about it in a different way, and I didn't think about it in that way because of the fact the case was literally put, these people, and it didn't have anything to do with politics. They didn't like the fact that this woman was a person of color and they did not want to deliver their mail. And I just think that's absolutely fucking insane that they can just do that. But the federal government is supposed to have policies against that kind of stuff. That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I haven't read the decision, but that's what I assume the court was getting at, is that you have redress through the federal government, but you don't have redress by bringing a civil action against the Postal Service because they're immune to civil suits having to do with delivery issues. So what they were doing was basically ignoring the whole racial element of the case, and I believe that that's what Sotomayor was trying to get, that the court was being too narrow in what they were looking at.
Especially because the person said they would not deliver their mail because of her race. That's what the person said. That was their defense. That is what they said. It's not what the lady felt like. And that's my thing. It's like, how the hell? Like, that's why now it just seems it seems like on so many levels shit is just like really hitting the fan because you see them more actively, the things that they've been working on years to chip away against. Now you're seeing it all. It seems like a lot more of it is coming full circle than it did before.
Yeah, it seems to me what the court was doing was looking at this as a mere delivery issue and therefore using the rubric that you cannot sue the Postal Service about delivery and refusing to look at what actually happened here. You know, and that's nonsensical to me.
Yeah. Yep.
In other words, Kia, the court didn't even want to look at the whole racial issue part of it. They were just saying this is a delivery issue. Can't sue the Postal Service over delivery issues. End of case. Let's move on.
And
well, no, as Sotomayor pointed out in her dissent, that isn't what this was about. We're not talking about a mere delivery issue here.
I mean, and the fact is we already know that a lot of those conservative judges on the Supreme Court are trying to act like racism isn't a thing anymore.
Well, that's why they're tearing apart the Voting Rights Act.
Yep.
And that's why Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, and that will have major real-world implications if, and I expect they will, they destroy the last remaining leg of the Voting Rights Act of Section 2, that will automatically, overnight, take about 12 to 15 Southern seats away from the Democrats overnight. Overnight, they're going to be gone. Those are the majority minority districts, and they are going to be gone. They're just gone. And that is going to be a tough blow. I don't think that even if they ruled today that it would have much of an impact on the 2026 election, but it certainly will on the 2028 election for the House.
No, you think it's good, Bob? You think it's good?
It's like, and we can even tie this back into the we can even tie this back into the situation last night and the fact when he sat there and he talked about we got rid of DEI and all those fuckers stood up and clapped. I saw that part and I'm just like, y'all keep sitting here saying this mofo is not racist. Hello.
Well, we already know they're all on that side. I mean, like I said, I've never been more disgusted and disappointed and by Congress than I was after watching last night.
I don't think they have to anymore. I don't think they feel they do. They wore suits last night.
Yeah, they don't. The whole point of the hoods was to hide their identity. They don't need to hide their identity anymore. That's the problem. We've literally created a society where they can be hoodless and do the exact same thing.
Certainly more convenient for them, I guess. And the way the Supreme Court is going, when they get rid of the Voting Rights Act, they'll be announcing that there's no problem here in America. Nothing to worry about.
And that is why it's just so important that you get out and vote.
Well, they will. Somebody pointed out in the comments that the Democrats are voting 20% more than the Republicans so far in elections since 2024. It's about 16 points, but I think you're right on the voter enthusiasm, which is a measurement of how likely people are to vote. Democrats heading into the midterms are 20% more likely to vote than Republicans, and that's what makes the Republicans keeping the House literally impossible. They won't be able to.
GB, there is, if by hope for the future you mean an hour and 45 minutes of lies That's pretty sad. It showed nothing about the Democrats. History says, see, here's the thing about history. And I also point this out. I think I talked about it in an episode at one point. I've noticed that a lot of the older people that are running things still run things in a way as though the internet didn't exist. Do I know you now? Yep. I know you now. Yep. You got it. While it is still important to pay attention to precedent, while it is still important to understand history, I think we also need to be aware that the internet has categorically changed things and how some things work in this country. I think we need to remember that. And that's not to say that every year that goes by, more and more people that feel uncomfortable with the internet and don't use the internet are leaving this earth, and more people that have grown up with the internet and that is a part of them are becoming adults. And that is going to drastically change everything. I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing it just how the internet works. We're seeing a lot of change. But I think that's why this is really a weird time, is because we've got these two groups of people, a whole group that don't pay attention to the internet at all, and they just, watch their one or two shows, and we've got a whole bunch of people that look at everything.
Yeah, I think what the poster was getting at is that historically the out party picks up seats in the midterms, and that's correct. Over the last 60 years, the average gain has been 23 seats. I would caution a little bit on that average because there weren't as many gerrymandered seats as there are today. So the swing may not be as large, although I think it's going to be about 25, but that's based on the generic ballot, or more, maybe more than that. I'm taking a conservative estimate, and I've looked at all 435 races. The other thing to bear in mind is, especially when you're talking about Gen Z, is that's the only demographic that's really going to change. Now, what do I mean by change? Well, there's 16.5 million more Gen Zs will be in the electorate between the election of 2024 and 2028. That's another 16.5 million. And right now, the Democrats are winning that demographic 2-1. So that's a whole lot of bonus votes coming for the Democrats.
Some people pay too much attention to the internet community. In person and online is important. I agree. I 100% agree. I think, unfortunately, until we get past some things as a country, the in-person thing is going to be a struggle in this country. It just is. It's just a reality. We as a country, as a society, need to take a hard look at a lot of things that have gone on, especially over the last 20 years, and work through them before you're going to see in-person really come back. And especially because we need third spaces to come back, because the reality is how you form that community is with things like third spaces. And as long as third spaces keep disappearing the way they are, online is going to be where those communities really happen, unfortunately. And again, in the end, what Minnesota showed is that people can come together around something. Minneapolis became a third space in its own right, where what brought everyone together was their desire to protect each other. You were able at that point to ignore potentially some things that you disagreed with because you were Minnesotans. You were Twin Cities people. And that was something you were able to rally around. In terms of a country, though, we've gotta find ways to rally together and come together in things that are different than what we are doing right now. And some of this comes again down to identity politics. As long as we keep focusing on the words Democrat and Republican, or even the words progressive or liberal or conservative or MAGA, if we focus on those, as long as we continue to focus on those, it will become near impossible for us to truly come together in a way that we need to fully start healing and fixing things.
Well, that's an intelligent comment, Henry.
If by best speech ever you mean worst speech ever, then I agree with you. You think it's epic to lie for an hour and 45 minutes? That's weird. You're right. They sat down to support Americans because they don't stand up and cheer lies. By far the worst speech ever. See, I can do it too. Pete, I do not bring up people I don't know. You have to be part of the community to come up. Make up some numbers? You mean the numbers that the government itself puts out? We're making it we're making the statements by the government's own numbers.
Well, user blah, 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 since he doesn't have a name, just a bunch of numbers, said the Democrats set themselves back 20 years. I'll tell you what, user blah, 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 blah. Get a certified check together and we'll make a little bet on who wins the midterms. You're going to find out in November just how far the Democrats have set themselves back. But wait, there's evidence already. We've had about 64 now special elections, and the Democrats are averaging 16 points, averaging 16 points better than they did in 2024, which, by the way, is the largest in special elections differential that's ever been recorded. The largest. So I don't think the Democrats have hurt themselves.
Join the community? No. Become part of the community? Then yes. And that doesn't happen in a day. So if you actually like what we do here, then stick around and talk. If the only way you're willing to become part of the community is to come up and be in the box, this might not be the best place for you. No, the numbers that the administration put out were not accurate, actually. He said that there was no crime, zero crime in DC. That was a lie. I hear you, Pete. I hear you, and I appreciate that. So please stick around, and we'd love to have you up in the future. We gotta be careful these days. And you already need to ID yourself to register. There's the whiny little JC with the small D energy. They may want voter ID, but they don't want a poll tax. And again, the problem with the SAVE Act is not the ID, it's the poll tax. If it costs money to get the IDs that are required to be able to vote, if it costs money in any way, whether to get the IDs or to spend money to go get the IDs or anything, that is considered a poll tax, which is unconstitutional. You want to make it easy for citizens to get it and not cost them anything? Go for it.
Not to mention, it was like, when did the whole voter ID thing become like this big issue? It's when people started lying and spreading misinformation, saying that the Dems want undocumented people to be able to vote, which we understand that you have to be a citizen of this country to vote. We know that. And I think that's when it became a big issue. And I don't think people realize how much they play right into all their little hands.
Voter ID assumes or presumes that there is a big problem with voter fraud in the United States. There most assuredly is not. Out of the last 2 billion, that's with a B, 2 billion votes cast in American elections, only 10 were cast by undocumented aliens. 10 out of 2 billion. This is a solution in search of a problem. It is a red herring that is coded wording for voter suppression. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. And that is from the Heritage Foundation. Those statistics are from the Heritage Foundation.
10 questionable votes out of 2 billion. It is not an issue. Exactly, Leon. It is all about voter suppression. It has absolutely nothing to do with safe and secure elections, which we already have.
Inflation's not down. Unemployment is not down when you consider the fact that there are more people here. Like, there are more people without jobs. You know, percentages change based on also population. And no, it is not a lot better than 2 years ago. What does a Democrat stand for? Humanity, empathy, the rule of law. I can't look at someone who's in the files of the most infamous child ring a million times and go, it's okay, because taxes.
And by the way, certain aspects of the inflation number are not part of the consumer price index. Things like your health care. Oops, that went way up. Things like your property taxes, your utility bills, your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance. Yeah, those prices have all gone way up. And by the way, don't take my word for it. Take a look at Trump's polling numbers on how he's handling the economy. They're the worst ever.
Joey, I wish I was getting paid to do this. Gosh. For all these people that think that I'm getting paid to do this, I would love it. I would love it.
What, you didn't get your Soros check? I got mine today.
Dang it. No. It probably
I'm still waiting for my Doge check and my trickle down check.
Hey, Die.
Yeah, somebody just said in chat that they're paying $4,000 for a modest home in Texas on their homeowners insurance. It is amazing how expensive homeowners insurance has gotten. It's amazing.
It's even worse in Florida.
Yeah.
People are paying like $10,000 a year for modest houses. Yes, Eric, worst speech ever. And Lady Prairie, I understand, and I'm sorry if it came across that way. I know there are plenty of older people that are comfortable or more comfortable with doing things online. I was just talking about it more in the sense of the world is different. There's a lot of people that don't pay attention to anything other than what they see on TV because they don't feel comfortable with online. But I understand, and I didn't want it to seem that way. Please tell you why. He did not say one thing that was true, because it wasn't a State of the Union speech. It was a pep rally and daytime talk show and reality TV show all put into one. He literally did not say one thing that was straight out true. It was also the worst display of leadership ever. Yep. In 1 hour and 45, what wasn't true? Oh man, we don't have time to go through it all, but you want one thing? He said there was no crime anymore in DC.
Yeah, and he also said that when he became president, inflation was the highest it's ever been, which that's laughable, but was no higher than it is now.
He said that he's defeated affordability. There you go. There's 3.
Which, by the way, is the last thing the Republicans wanted to hear him say. They want him to shift focus to affordability, so because they're getting hammered by the Democrats on it, and he just won't do it. He cannot stay on message. It's impossible for him. He is temperamentally incapable of staying on any consistent message when it comes to the economy. He can't do it.
I think one of the few things that he told the truth about, but it was absolutely horrible, was he was like, we got rid of DEI.
Fair.
I was like, someone come get their peepaw, please.
But
and then like I was watching it, RTP paused it at that moment, and he said that his sister works for like some big tech company. She's like, yeah, he said that what they literally did is they changed it. They don't call it DEI, but it's literally the same exact policies and procedures that they had. They just changed the name of it.
Yep. That's why I said, I mean, it's not true. They didn't get rid of it. For people that think like he does, they got rid of it. But for people that don't think like he does, they just changed the way they talk, the way they interact with those words. He's not the one in charge, and you guys know this. What is the point of that statement? Like what I guess I'm trying to understand what your point is of coming in and making that statement.
That part, lady. It's a whole cabinet full of DEI. That's why I said, like, they've changed DEI. They're so ignorant, and like the willful ignorance is just so astounding, because they have changed DEI. they've made it like the new N-word, and that's what they associate it with. They just seem to completely, they refuse. Ooh, the whale. They refuse to understand what DEI really means and how it has helped a lot of them.
Debbie, I didn't see you say anything. Guys, again, I'll say this a million times over. I know probably y'all love going through on TikTok, but TikTok filters your comments so bad. So bad. If you really want to have a real conversation about things, please go over to the tube. I'm live over there too. No, don't be sorry. It's not your fault. It's this app's fault. 9 times out of 10, I probably don't see people's. I would not be surprised if half of everyone's comments get filtered. And you wouldn't know unless you scroll out and scroll back in and see if your comment is still there. You will never know it's been filtered. They don't tell you it's been filtered, which is a whole different problem.
Yeah, and then people are like, oh, you're not going to answer me? Well, we can't answer something we can't see.
Yep. Not understanding why y'all or anybody even watched. Well, I mean, there are people that supported him that watched. I watched in the way I did because I think sometimes it's important to know what he said. As someone who does this as part of their living, it is important to know what was said. And I was going to be watching it in some way, shape, or form, no matter what. I don't blame anyone that didn't watch it.
Yeah, and in case anybody's wondering as to what the political ramifications of a State of the Union address are, and we talked about this in the beginning of Mike's Live, they're pretty much zero, folks. This isn't going to be any type of reset for the president, which is what he was after. And in fairness, no State of the Union message ever moves the political needle anywhere. They're basically ignored, and I guarantee you that 48 hours from now, there won't be a person in the country even talking about it.
Brian, the fact that you used the word Democrats to start shows that you have no idea what you're talking about. Democrats just a word. I stand and support humanity, empathy.
Well, Deb in comments says it's the best speech ever, GFY. I think I can figure out what that is. So, Deb, was it better than Franklin Roosevelt's inaugural address or John Kennedy's inaugural address or anything Winston Churchill ever had to say? Is it better than Martin Luther King's Have a Dream speech? It was the best speech ever? Really?
I know we can't talk anymore, but it always is funny to me when people are like, you youngins don't know what you're talking about.
You and your 27-year-old self.
I had to walk uphill both ways in 12 feet of snow to get to work, and I was only paid 50 cents, and I was still able to buy a house. Well, yeah, that's a problem.
I walked uphill both ways in 4 feet of snow every day, even in August.
Yep, even in August. What's up, Shug? And welcome everyone that came over from TikTok over to the tube. Thank you for coming over there. By the way, for everyone, I am 90 subs away from 2,000. If when I hit 2,000 subs, all subs will have a chance at winning a prize. I'm going to do a giveaway for hitting 2,000 subs.
And Rose, I just told everybody to make sure that they subbed on the. See, your mod is on it. I was like, welcome in TikTokers. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Also, make sure you turn on notifications. Subscribe over there. It's free. Make sure you do all the good things.
Yes, Debbie. I go live there and here at the same time. Yep, I actually go live there on the tube early. I go live 30 minutes early over there. Just so you know, guys know what tomorrow's going to look like. I think so. Two things are going to happen. I think. One, we're going to have, if you guys watched it, her name is Chelsea. She is running for Congress in Texas. She's going to be on for some of it, and we're going to talk with her. So if you're in Texas, especially, but everyone should hang out. But also Emily Gross, if you remember, she's been, I've done a couple episodes with her. She's going to come on and talk about a couple different things. She was at the DNC during the State of the Union, so she's going to talk about what went on there. But also she just put out an episode that is pretty amazing that you guys should go watch. She's going to
Mike,
talk
what
about
happened to the little orange heart
What do you mean?
next to your name?
I still see it.
I don't.
You might need to. There's something wrong in your connection in the live. Then that happens sometimes. Like the other day, Bex kept trying to get me to come up, and I could not go up. And whenever I did, like the top of the screen would be completely black, like you couldn't see her name, the heart me, the people count. You couldn't see anything, and then I kind of just got stuck. I was talking, my box was blue, but the rest of the live was like frozen. It's crazy.
Oh, okay. Because this is the first time I've ever been on where I don't see the little orange heart. It's gone. Oh, well. But I can see everything else in the live. Like I can see Mike's lips, which is the only important thing.
True. By the way, if you are over on TikTok, and that's one of the reasons I want to grow over on the tube, because I want to be able to have them there too. But if you are a member in any way over here, you get a fire lips emote. I now have a fire lips emote, so a lot more sanity. Yes, there's a lot more sanity over on the tube, Amanda, and hi Seashell, and everyone else that came over for the first time. I appreciate you. I would really like to get to a point where I'm getting the numbers I'm getting over on TikTok over on the tube, and then we can just have real conversations. Hey, Stephanie, that don't involve a lot of filtering, because it's really hard, and we'll get a lot less trolls, so we can actually talk, which would also be nice.
Yeah, especially now that I figured out. Do you know how long it took me to figure out how to bounce people from the tube on my iPad? It's for somebody who takes great glee, joy, and pride in doing that. It was very frustrating.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, I will always keep putting up TikTok for as long as it feels like it's worth it, but it's hard to have a real conversation when half of people's comments get filtered.
Something totally off topic from politics and all the stuff that we've been talking about. But I have the Today Show on usually in the background, like I mute when Bex is on in the morning because it comes on right after WRAL goes off.
Mhm.
And you know, they're still talking about her mom Nancy. And if you guys remember, like a couple days after she went missing, I had made a comment. I was like, the only thing is I was like, what about all the other people that are missing right now, actively as we speak? Kids, women, elderly people, men, all kinds of people, and they're not blasted all over the TV. And we don't have the FBI working on every single one of those cases and all these things. And I was like, it was just a little frustrating. Well, they did like this whole thing. So Savannah and them have upped the reward to $1 million, but then they also donated, the Guthrie family donated $500,000. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess up their name. It's the center, the one that was founded after oh my god, dude from America's Most Wanted, when his son went missing, Adam, in 81, and they found him unalived. The Center for Exploiting and Missing people or something like that. They also donated like $500,000. And she did another video and she brought up, and it made me, I was like, okay, see, like Savannah Guthrie did another video and she's like, I want other people to be making sure, like, hey, let's put focus on all these other people that are
Yeah.
missing right now. And I just thought that was a really a really good way to turn it about. No, she hasn't been found yet.
Oh, and I want to say to all the people that have come over to the tube and say, I don't like the ads. I hear you. And honestly, my biggest thing would be is if I can get to a point where I am making enough via the tube without the ads, then I will stop the ads for my lives. Straight up. That's what I want to do. I don't want to have to make, I don't want to have to make money from ads on my lives in any way, shape, or form. But they have to be, it has to be a point where it's possible for me to do that. So that's just a reality, unfortunately.
I will say, usually, like, and there's some days with the ad, y'all. There was one day I didn't get not one. Then some days I get a couple when he first starts out, and then I don't get maybe but one more during the live. And then there's sometimes it's like double ad, double ad, double ad, and it's like, oh my God, can you repeat yourself?
Blue Devil, what do you consider a real job? Do you consider people that work on movies to not have real jobs? Do you consider people that answer phones to not have real jobs? Do you consider people that work in TV to not have real jobs?
Well, not only that, Blue Devil, what are you doing here? Why aren't you at your real job?
And I'm live for 2.5 hours a day during the week. What do you think I do during the rest of the day that I'm not live? Do you not do anything else other than your job? Do you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Or do you do other things that you think are important, that you enjoy doing? Yes. Premium also helps. Yes. Yep.
Does premium help you, or just premium helps overall? It just gets rid
It
of the
helps
ad.
me. Basically I get a little bit of money that during what would have been an ad time, even via premium. Like if you've got premium. So it does. Obviously there are just less people that watch me that got premium because not everyone's got it, but yes, I still make ad money from people that are on premium.
I just wonder, Linda. Do you see Linda down the other side? Big orange block.
Oh, Linda. Thank you. Sorry. I've got it in 2 places, and one place shows when people become members, but not when people do those things. So I have to look at the other place too. Linda, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You have been so supportive. A lot of you have. So many of you have. That is really cute. I've never seen that before. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I try. And like I said, this is why I say watch these videos of people that are running for office. It really does make you feel, get a little bit of hope. It really does. Because some of these people are just the most amazing people you've ever met. And you're like, these people understand it. These people understand they understand what's required, and they're doing the work. They're stepping up and doing something they don't want to do. Like, you sit here and you go, you're tired of people that are doing this in order for them to like become wealthy. You can tell from these people that that's not why they're doing it. That's not why they are coming out and saying, I'm doing this. It was the worst speech ever. If you enjoyed it, that is disgusting. These people don't want to be in office forever. They most of them are like, one of the first things I want to do is put term limits on the position that I'm going into, because I don't think anyone should be there for 20 years, 30 years, 15 years. So help get their visibility out there. I mean, obviously for people in North Carolina and Texas and Alabama, I think our votes, our primary election time is near an end. But we got Illinois coming up, Mississippi coming up, and then we got a little time. So there's still time to help people. And a lot of veterans are running. Like, so many veterans. It's amazing. Probably 75% of the people I've interviewed are veterans. Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate that. I do. And I appreciate that all of you appreciate what I'm doing. That means more to me than you know. It really does. That's why I keep coming on and doing it when there's some days that I'm like, it's hard. But you know what? You guys are amazing. You guys, I appreciate you guys. That's why I want to come out and keep doing this, is because this is how we fix the problem long term, by having these discussions, by disagreeing.
I don't want to be that. I just want to be right. Can you just tell me I'm right? I don't want to be amazing and all those other things. Just tell me I'm right. Come on.
I'm sorry. I think my headphones just
Nah, Kia,
are on the fritz.
hate to break it to you, you're as full of shit as the rest of us.
No. That's right. Team Kia in the chat, y'all. Come on. That's all I want. It doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't cost you a thing. I think that's a good thing to go. Go ahead, Papa. Go ahead. Tell him.
Hold on. We got a question. What's my take on Dem sitting? Thank you for the question and the super chat, I guess it's called. What's your take on Dem sitting when Trump was talking about Americans versus quote unquote illegals? Reps are already talking about using the clip in campaign ads. Oh, I know. They're already coming in here and talking about it. Our government is there to support people that are within our borders and in our society. Our government is not, no government is there only for the people that are citizens. That's my personal, that's how I see it. That's how I see a functioning society and our government. So I'm okay with them sitting, because what he did, he knew what was going to happen. He knew that the way he said it was just to get clips. But they were right to sit.
Boopet, just so you know, anybody who went to law school, we all took constitutional law, all of us. It's a core requirement in every law school.
Clara, from my interaction with the vets, so you got to understand, People that choose to serve our country in the military have a service personality. They're willing in many cases to put their lives on the line for this country. And a lot of them see running for office as putting their lives on the line for this country, and they're willing to step out and do it. That is why I think you're seeing a lot of veterans running. It's because it's just another way of serving their country. Oh, I hear you, MCS. I understand. You hate hearing the noise from MAGA already. I do too. It's just, again, this is what happens when you're all about gotcha moments. You're not about actually talking about the real issues. Why do
And
people?
the other thing is though is First Amendment, they're always screaming about the First Amendment right. It is your right to not stand up. Like, I don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't stand for none of that shit. I don't participate in that. I refuse. And that's my right. I don't have to. They don't have to either.
So here's the thing about the clapping. Clapping has gotten worse over the years. This one was extreme. I think someone counted and it was over 100 times. But this has always been a whacked out thing with people and clacking and clapping. This has just gotten ridiculous now. I still say that an hour and 45-minute speech was probably more like an hour and 15 minutes, an hour, because of all the clapping. They wasted so much time clapping. Why were people clapping?
Because he talked and lied,
Yeah.
literally. But I got to get ready to go live. Love you, brother. Thank you for having me up. Thank you, everybody, for being Team Kia on both sides. I appreciate it. Scott and Mike can just go ahead. They can go play in the snowbanks. I hope you guys have a good day.
You
I'll
too.
see y'all
Love you.
later. Love you too.
Oh, that's fine, Tiffany. You didn't have to. I completely understand why you didn't watch. And if I didn't think it was necessary, because again, there are certain things that happen that I think it's okay to learn via clips. I think this is something that I needed to see, as much as I hated myself for wasting that many hours of my life to see it. Again, I think every time this man comes out and says things that during this presidency, this second administration, what it is doing is it is showing me what things need to be fixed, what things are broken that need to be fixed. And I think the State of the Union is something that is broken and needs to be fixed too, because that was ridiculous. It was horrible. It was absolutely wretched. So again, guys, for those of you that are new here, I go live on the tube at 9:30 Eastern every morning, and then I go live here on TikTok. This whole you have to type in @ and then the person's name, Amanda. Unfortunately, that again, YouTube isn't perfect. The tube is not perfect. It's gotten a lot better than it used to be, and I think it's going to keep getting better. The chat is one of the places that they kind of fail at. But if you just type in the name of the person and then respond, you don't even need to @ them really, but just start typing in their name. That's just an easy way to do it. That'll at least give me something to know you're not talking to me. Having conversations is absolutely necessary. That is how we will fix the problem. Disagreeing and learning to keep talking through our disagreements. Obviously, there are certain non-negotiables that we need to work through, but or that we won't talk about. But in the grand scheme of things, the stuff that we need to work through is not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's going to be necessary. I know people love debate podcasts, and I love people like the gotcha moments, but gotchas aren't going to fix the problems we have. Okay? Gotchas are not going to fix the problems we have. We need, and again, whether it's me or somebody else, as much as I will say again, I want to do this because I think it's important, because I love what I do here. But we need more people to become part of this conversation if we actually want to change society through this. So I'm going to keep doing it. I just hope you guys can help and bring more people along, because that's how we grow. That's how we have these conversations. That's how we fix the problems. I hope a lot of people stick around that want to come up in the box and be part of these conversations. I love having Scott and Kia and Tiffany and all the same people up, because they're great to have up. But I do want to have more. And I feel like a lot of people come in and they want to be a part of it, but they don't want to stick around because I'm not just letting them up. And that's a little frustrating. No, we should take care of all people, John Wick. Because humanity doesn't care about citizenship. So please help. Please be a part of it. Yup. The Constitution actually, in general, doesn't care about citizenship.
Yeah, John, you may want to take a look at the 14th Amendment.
Like, literally, the documents that run this country don't really care about citizenship in most cases. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the gifts, the subs. I appreciate you all. I really, 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 really do. Any support you can give over on the tube watching those videos, especially if you know people in those states. This is how we get people to vote in primaries. This is how we get people to vote in generals. We got to get people involved. We got to have these conversations. We got to work through it. Yeah. So tomorrow, like I said, we're going to have a couple people on, but we're going to probably have the normal people on too. Who knows what other crazy stuff is going to come up, but join in the conversation. Be a part of this. Like I said, if you don't want to get filtered, the tube is a better place. There's some people, they're having a great conversation over there right now because people can actually talk. It's great. Yeah. You guys are amazing, just the way you are. And I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys. Goodbye, YouTube. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. It's the only possibly getting away from the parroting. It is. And sometimes you just can't do anything about it. Bye, guys. See you, Amanda. See you, Ambrosia, Linda, Stu. See you guys.